Hello everyone, welcome back to another banner reaction. I'm DTM as always, and we have with us the newest legendary hero. We're expecting red, and I believe it's going to be a wind legendary. So honestly, I have literally no idea who it could be. I'm doing this a bit late because of some IRL things, but yeah, super excited to see what we have in store. And yeah, before we get into this, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz, helps for our channel. Only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but it truly just helps the channel a lot, and I really appreciate all the constant support. So yeah, let us begin. Who's it going to be? This is, wait, I think that's Elincia's theme, isn't it? Oh shoot, it is Elincia! Okay. With the sword, I see. Sword flyer.
Very well.
I mean, melee flyers have been... Ooh, I like the Lucia support. Enables Kanto 2. That's really good. Okay, I did not see all of that, unfortunately. It went by too fast. But yeah. Melee flyers have actually gotten really good. Okay, I see warping. Melee flyers, like, as I was trying to say, like, have gotten good because they enable warping. And also being a frontline with Guard Bearing 4 and Guidance and Storing Guidance. So it'll be interesting to see if Elincia can either play into that role. It looks like she's a lot more like player face orientated though. Sort of like Pala. I did see a quad there, right? I can't remember. Oh wow, like this banner kind of sucks. Besides red. Yeah. I did take a look at the calendar earlier, and it was like not that appealing. Like, what is blue? Blue is actually so garbage. But yeah, Elincia. I thought Ascended Elincia from earlier this year meant that we weren't going to get like legendary Elincia this year. But I guess we are running out of legendary candidates, and it does make sense. Like wind and red fits Elincia really, really well. So. Yeah, I'm fine with this. This is awesome. Undaunted Queen. I see. Yeah, giving resistance buff. That's interesting.
Very well.
All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at this kit, starting with Absolute Amity. Enables Kanto 2. That is really good. Like, that is similar to Pala. Accelerated Special Trigger got Slaying. That's better than Pala, since Pala doesn't have Slaying, which is really nice. Unit attacks twice, even if foe initiates combat, unit attacks twice. Okay, so we have Dual Phase Brave, again, like Pala. Okay, this is going to be like a comparison, but I'm sure like Elincia has like a lot more things going for her. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants all stats plus 5 to unit, grants attack speed plus X to unit. X equals 11 minus foe's max special cooldown count value times 2, min 3. Okay, so if, say, like your opponent has Slaying and is running like Ruptured Sky, that is like attack speed plus 9 effectively, which is really, really nice. Obviously, if they're running like Aether or something, that becomes attack speed plus 1, which is not as nice. So actually, like, against Gambit users, this is not going to be that big of a speed bump or attack bump. So you definitely want to be careful of Gambit users. But other than that, like, most units want to run low cooldown specials to begin with. So you're probably going to get a lot of attack and speed with this, which is really, really nice. And neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge minus X on units during combat. So we have offensive tempo as well. Very cool. All right, we have a new Flyer B skill, Aerial Maneuvers. What do you do? Unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any allies within 2 spaces. Okay, that is the warping that we saw. That is really, really good. Like, a lot of perf Bs that Flyers have this warping. So just having this be inheritable is like really amazing. At start of combat, if both unit and foe's HP is greater than or equal to 50%, inflict speed defense -4 on foe during combat. And also, if unit initiates combat, unit can make a follow-up attack before foe can counterattack during combat. Okay, so as long as both you and your opponent are above 50% HP, which should happen most of the time, right? Like, realistically, it's very rare for, especially as a player phase unit, you're generally like above that. And the foe is generally above that, and if they're below that, then you don't really need this to begin with, right? So yeah, So you get the desperation, which is really, really good. Like you get warping and desperation. That is really strong. And this is, yeah. Okay. Whoa. This is like the next evolution of dive bomb, I guess. All right. What does a Heart of Crimea do? Allies within 2 spaces of unit can move to any space within 2 spaces of unit. So Omni Guidance, or just Ash, basically, inflicts all stats -4 on foe within 4 spaces of unit during combat. So that's a super Omni Rain. And at start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants NFU to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit. Okay, so that one is really good. Because I was about to say, like, most of the time, like, you can make do with either guidance or soaring guidance. Generally, during, like, something like Summoner's Duels, you generally mold the team around, like, either soaring guidance and just have the armor rely on, like, Katria orders buff to get into position. Or you go, like, just guidance if you're all infantry. But like Elincia having Omni guidance makes it so that like you don't have to fit around that. Now you do have to make sure you are able to include her, and that is going to be very interesting because as melee flyers in Summoner's Duels, you're generally running a more defensive build, something like either Guard Bearing 4 or Gambit, while acting as that guidance beacon. So that is very interesting. Granting NFU is really, really strong. This is not restricted to only infantries or any movement type. This is for all movement type. I believe the only other units that can do this is like Cadian Lind, I believe, and Fallen Lilith. But Fallen Lilith is just to the support partner. Elincia is for, like Cadian Lind, it's for everyone within 2 spaces. So that is obviously really strong. NFU, outsourcing NFU is such a big deal right now in the builds these days that being able to do that makes her a very good support, in addition to being a warping beacon. That's really interesting. Is that it? She's definitely going to be a very strong melee flyer. I wonder what the inheritance restrictions for aerial maneuver is going to be. It has to be melee locked, right? I would assume so. I would assume it's going to be the same as Dive Bomb. So melee locked flyers only. If this is inheritable to range flyers, that would be wild. Like, you basically, like, all range flyers would run this skill because there's literally no other skill that they can run that's good besides like pass, I guess. I guess that's one thing to consider is that as part of the B slot, like you can't run this and pass at the same time unless you like, is there a pass seal? I can't remember if there's a pass seal or not. You probably don't want to run a pass seal though. Like you lose a lot of stats that way. Let me check actually. Hold on. Okay, according to the wiki, there is no pass seal. Really? I could have sworn there was like an obstruct seal. Huh. Okay, unless like the wiki is lying to me. Apparently you can't run pass as a seal, so that's new. So yeah, apparently you can't run pass if you run this. So like units like Gatekeeper and Legendary Mirror will be able to put a stop to this, which is definitely a shame. So you can't run this and pass. But yeah, Elincia is going to be very, very interesting. How good is this? In Arena, this will be very, very good because mobility is so important in Arena that like, yeah, because of like the way the map works and the meta, having to run dual rallies instead of like positional skills or dances, unless you're like dual peony or something, like being able to provide that mobility support is so good for Arena. Her also being able to Canto means you can do hit and run in Arena, which is really, really good for that mode. In other modes, like Summoner's Duels, I'm not as sure. Actually, she's probably going to be very good. Let's be real. Like, you can swap out aerial maneuvers and switch to either Gambit or Guard Bearing 4, and she'll just be like another melee flyer frontline tank that can act as a guidance beacon. The only difference here is that she can warp all units and not just either infantry armors or infantry flyers, right? Now, unfortunately, like warping calves is not as good, isn't really that relevant because Let's be real. If you're using Cavs on a team, generally you're going for Cav line teams and Summoners duels, and they don't really rely on warping. They rely on Pathfinder. And so it's not as good as Cavs, but so like I think the only relevant part of this is being able to warp both infantry, flyers, and armors, which is really, really nice. In general, though, like you probably can make do with soaring guidance and just have the armor rely on Catria orders buff if you're thinking about the standard Catria team in Summoners duels. But she does provide a lot of offensive threat, and that is something that, you know, not every melee flyer frontline can do. Like being able to have the dual phase brave makes it similar to like male Shez, but obviously you have the tempo, you have a lot of these speed buffs, and you also have the support with the NFU and everything. So like she does consolidate quite a bit of roles. I'm still unsure of how much of an impact she'll make in Summoners duels, but at least in Arena, I think she'll be a very, very strong legendary and a very good investment option for sure. But yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't believe Elincia is finally here after all these years. Yes, there's the quad that I saw.
For my people.
It's interesting they chose like Dragon Fang and not like, I don't know, Ruptured Sky or something. That's kind of weird special to include. I don't think anyone's going to run like Dragon Fang. I think they're going to run like Ruptured Sky or something. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this banner. I did say that it was pretty bad. Yeah. All right, let's just get through this. Okay. So Elincia here shares with Hinoka and Fallen Crom. That is a super stack share. Like Fallen Crom is just so good. Arcane Devour is currently the best sword for arcanes, and like Crom himself I think is really underrated as a unit. And Hinoka, everyone knows like Hinoka. Like Hinoka's terrorizing Summoners duels and Arena right now. So yeah, and she's a fire legendary. And so Elincia being a wind legendary means they don't overlap seasons. And so you can, if you're looking for a wind and fire core, like this is a good path to go because you can also get arcane, more arcane swords, get more inheritance options, which is really, really nice. Blue, we have Gilliam, Noah, and Saros. This is really bad. Don't do it. I don't even want to talk about that. Green, we have legendary male Byleth, Odor, and Dagger. Byleth and Dagger can be a good share, especially if you're both are merge projects, or like, you know, you need more like mythic merges or water season merges. But Odor is definitely the stinker of the batch, and Dagger and male Byleth are probably not the mythics or legendaries you want to go for. Like for water, you definitely want to go for either legendary Ninian or honestly legendary Crom, and then Dagger is definitely far from the best like mythic. Colorless, we have Fallen Maria, which is really, really good, but sharing with legendary Claude and Goto. I do think Goto is like fairly underused, but it's just that you don't really encounter AoEs in dark defenses, so there's not really a point of using Goto. Claude unfortunately has started to show his age as an Earth legendary. Fallen Maria is still super good. But yeah, still kind of mediocre, honestly. So yeah, only red is good here. Like, that is yeah. Like, this is such a bad banner. Like, what? Only red is good. Like, sure, red is super stacked, but yeah. Honestly, I'm definitely going to be skipping this. Like, I'll try to see what I can get on the redstone as the free summon, but yeah, definitely not a banner that I'm going to be pulling for necessarily. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the win tier list. We have in S tier Yuri and Veronica. I don't think there's really any argument about this. Like, they're definitely by far the current best win legendaries. In A, we have Myrrh. Very good, especially for Arena. She can like score very, very high because of the ability to run Dragon to the counter, and in general, like just really good at anti-warping. Honestly, probably better than Gatekeeper in something like Summoners duels, specifically. But yeah, Eliwood, as we know, is like very, very good support. Bonus doubler plus everything is just so strong for Omni tank strats. Legendary Sigurd has definitely fallen off since his heydays of the knockline meta, but he's still very good. Like the extra movement support he provides is still decent, especially in something like Arena. But yeah, has definitely started to show his age. Next, we have in B tier Legendary Lucina, which specifically in Arena, Future Vision is just so good. Like, again, because you can't really run repo or like positionals, like having that Future Vision is just very, very strong in practice in Arena. And she herself, I think, is definitely underrated, especially when you use Sims to try to evaluate her, because like she mainly relies on using Future Vision to get the debuffs to activate her Plegian effect. And so that generally often doesn't like come across in the Sims. And so I do think like Lucina's combat is underrated in that sense. And of course, the positional is just super, super strong. Byleth, still the only unit that can support with tempo. Like, how is that still a thing? So yeah, I do think she's also underrated, but unfortunately, like, she is a legendary, so it's not that common to see her as a tempo support. But as a nuke, she's also still pretty good. Micaiah, again, pretty standard nuke, can nuke armors and cows pretty well. Pretty standard nuke. In C, unfortunately, we get into the less good units. We have Lynn, which because of Arena, you have to forego her Perf A to run G Dual Infantry 4, which just kills a lot of her power. And so she's just not good in Arena. In modes where you can use her A, she actually does perform very, very well. But in Arena specifically, yeah, it's really, really bad. And unfortunately, in those other modes that you could use her really well, I just think there's a lot of other nukes that do better. Like, if you want to compare other like legendaries that we got in Formos, like I think Legendary Alm is just straight up better than Legendary Lyn. And so, yeah, unfortunately, she doesn't really shine anywhere. And being a legendary in Arena means that she has to get rid of her A for G Dual Infantry 4, which is a big pain. We also have Gunthra. Still pretty decent, being a cav ranged unit, can like force rally loops and all that, but has definitely shown his age. And Korn is definitely waiting for her remix right now. And then there's Hrid, who had his one moment in the sun during that first Seer Snare moment. Yeah. So where would I rank Elincia? Honestly, I'd probably put her in S. I do think she's better than Myr, Eliwood, and Sigurd. I don't know if she's better than Veronica or Yuri in this tier list, because Yuri does have the foul play, which again, like Future Vision, is just insane for something like Arena. And Veronica does have the range and is still a very powerful nuke in Arena. But Elincia does provide the guidance or Omni guidance and the support. So I do think A is appropriate. Where she will end up in A will depend. We'll need to test her, but I think S tier is probably a safe bet. Don't take the position in S as like ordered or anything. This is unordered in S. So like, yeah, I'm still unsure about that. But yeah, overall, very interesting unit. I do really like the art and the design, I think. Like, I really want to know the inheritance restrictions for the B. And I do think she'll be very strong, especially as a melee frontliner in SD. And obviously in Arena, just the mobility support will be insane. But overall, like, I don't think this is a unit that you need to have or anything like that, especially in something like Summoner's Duels. Like, you definitely don't need this unit for Summoner's Duels. I don't think, like, your progression will be improved by having her. But still, she'll be very strong there, you know, just by the nature of being a melee flyer that can have brave hits. So, and Omni guidance. So, you know, honestly, like, I don't think you would like be sad if you like picked her up and tried to use her in SD, right? So, yeah. But overall, very interesting banner. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think of Legendary Elincia, whether or not you're going to summon for this. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to our channel. Only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but it truly does help us the channel a lot. And I really do appreciate all the constant support. And yeah, Hope to see you all next time. And yeah, bye everyone.